morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for that introduction. I will not be speaking any single word about my company hereafter because it was so elaborate introduction. Thank you very much for that. I would like to give, to start my speech as an user industry representative here. I want to tell what's happening with the construction equipment industry last year and what is likely to happen in the coming years. Last year, 2024, I'm talking about the calendar year, our numbers were around 1,42,000 machines compared to the previous year in 2023, a number of 1,35,000, just 3% growth. But people in our industry are quite aware of the fact every year when there is a parliamentary election, our number takes a dip. That was true for 2009, 14, and 19, and same thing happened in 24. But the positive side of it, always it used to be by minus 15%. This time it was plus 3%. So from that point of view, we are very happy that in spite of an election year, we could register a growth. So that's a positive side from our industry. When 2019 or year before that, the industry was at a peak, and the number of machines what all of us, all the manufacturers were making was around 70,000. So last year we ending up at 1,42,000. It's just double of that. So I was just checking with Mr. Srikanth before coming inside, what is their vision for the current number to 2030? He said roughly around 50% we expect to grow. So that, in my opinion, maybe our industry is taking very less percentage of total production of your industry, but our story is going to be completely different. So that's the first piece of information I wanted to share with you. Again, if you talk about our industry, there are 5 major segments. Out of this 1,42,000, approximately 99,000 comes from earth moving, dominated with the excavators and backhoe loaders. And then comes the other industry like road around 7,000 plus, and concreting around 15,000, and material processing around 3,000, and the balance goes to the material handling like cranes and other equipments. All of us require the parts and components what you all make. And the good news is, from this number where we are going to go is comes with certain facts and figures which I would like to delve here. So let me talk about the vision plan of our industry, ICEMA 2030. If you all know that this year, as we speak, ICEMA, or the Indian Construction Equipment Manufacturers Association, the total number, whatever I mentioned, 1,42,000, makes us third largest producer of construction equipment in the world. But the thing is, we have a much bigger potential. That's what I would like to talk about. After China and USA, we are number 3 now. But we believe very strongly that somewhere in 2030s, we will even cross USA and become number 2 because of the projection which comes from the gap in the infrastructure requirement of the country and the commitment what the government has made to bridge that gap with the investment in infrastructure activities almost in every sphere of development. So I think we have a very, very positive story awaiting all of us. First, our industry, then of course, our partner industry like you. So currently, we are at a $10 billion industry in India. And let me talk about 2030 first, because I don't want to talk about 2047, then numbers are really huge. So 2030, if we talk about when India moves from 4.2 trillion to 7 trillion, that's a plan. The type of investment, what has to happen in infrastructure has to be in multiple times in compared to what it was in the past. If you talk about the last 5 years, whatever government had spent, that is something like $550 million in the infrastructure development. Now the coming period, the commitment. I think this year itself, I'm not talking about last 5 years, 5 years back, it was around that. And the current budget allocation is something like 1,32,000 crores for the infrastructure development. It is doubled. So you can see that from the government side also, there is numbers coming and it's also happening. It is not just commitment, but we can see the projects also are happening in the big way. All these things are going to add a big type of growth in our industry. And we are expecting by 2030, our industry will move from 10 billion to 25 billion US dollars. That's what I was mentioning when he said 50% growth is expected in your industry. We are going to grow by 2.5 times. Going by the past 5 years development, I think this is much easy to achieve. And the other interesting fact is about the opportunity in the export. So we are expecting a 3x growth in the export. We are talking about India becoming a manufacturing hub for all the countries which are having similar developmental story yet to come, or just they are going to go through, because our products are meeting the quality standards of almost any construction site requirement, the made in India products I'm talking about, and also the cost competitiveness. I mean, Indian market is known for the most low-priced market in the world, but I don't think many of the manufacturers like us are making good margin in this business. But there is a big opportunity for us to work together and make the quality requirement met and meet the cost or the price expectation met, and also make a good profit. There is a good possibility for that. Some of the key factors which are going to be the concern for us is dependency on import. Currently, all of us, if you see, more than 50% of our hydraulic components or pneumatic components are getting imported. And even the companies which are offering in India, the multinationals especially, they bring it and they do a minor value addition, package it, and give it in rupees. But they also depend a lot of items to be imported in assembling their components, or even completely imported components coming from other country and given here. The fact, for the whole world, India going to become the hub for construction machinery should make all of you rethink about the strategy on where you want to make and where you want to deliver. The other fact which is very, very important for all of us is the reliability of the supply chain. And you can all see that what's going around in the world with the wars just coming up from nowhere, and multiple fronts, the world is facing the problem. I think in a situation like this, somebody wants to close the sea channel or things like that. Those are things very often happening in the earlier conflict and in the current conflict also. So the reliability is becoming a very, very key important thing. Even domestic requirement will get majorly affected if components are not made in India or made in places where the supply chain is assured of constant deliveries of components. So these all are the important facts. The other trends on energy, especially on electrification or hydrogen-based, also is going to determine on what type of components we are going to buy in the future for our machineries. I think this is a trend which is worth mentioning, and you recognizing that aspect about it. So we foresee total investment of around $4 billion US coming in India to meet only our projections up to 2030. So I think there is a 25% at least opportunity for the component industry, predominantly is you. In fact, hydraulic cylinder is also one of the item which we are importing at the moment. But I think with all put together, I think there will be a good opportunity to all of us. We are also having challenges other than the import dependency. The government is coming out so many regulations now. I'm sure you all are aware about OTR, QCOs, and the good news is We got a confirmation now that OTR will be moved by, the due date for implementation will be moved by 1 year. So now they are talking about September 2026. So we have a relief, but we have to accomplish a lot of things in meeting the requirement. So it is not only the equipment level, it is at the component level. So our currently whatever we are using as a component in our products, it also has to meet the expectation of these standards. So this is one side is going to be a challenge, and we want all of you to gear up for delivering what is required by the government, and there is no escape. We have multiple engagement with the ministry, and they are very, very clear that they are determined to go for implementation of these things. And in the past also you have seen, especially on fuel norms, CV4 to 5 type of transition, they are not willing to extend any date. They are very, very firm about the date, and so that expectation should not be there with us. So there are multiple bodies getting involved now, BAS, SIMS, DPIIT, DGFT, putting a lot of challenges in doing the normal business. Of course, as an industry and an industry body, ICEMA is representing to the Ministry of Heavy Industry, the parent industry of us, and then they are very, very helpful. They are listening, and then they want to sort out the issue, and they are willing to listen to any problem associated with our industry. And it is also difficult to convince, to tell that there are certain components not available in the local market, it necessarily need to be imported, which means that it is not we or you, even your raw material. Sometimes if it is not there, what do we do? So the whole ecosystem need to be addressed to make India self-reliant, or talking about Atmanirbharta, or becoming an export hub. I think this point is also we are conveying to the government, and they are quite willing. I'm making all these points because I see a lot of opportunity for FPSI and ICEMA to work much more closely in making the representation to the government. And so talking about 2047, we talk about Viksit Bharat. So that number also I would like to just make a passing remark. If we have to become a developed economy and have $20,000 per capita income, I think we need to do many things and accomplish all of them in 2035 or 36. We cannot be doing all the developmental work till the end of our target date. So the window from now to 2035 is phenomenal for our industry, and the investments are also going to come for that. The government is committed to spend more money on infrastructure, and their plan is also very, very clear. So I am sure that if we are talking about a percentage growth on GDP, almost 1/3 of that value should be going on as an investment for infrastructure. Then only the whole things will turn out to a level of that percentage growth. So that is a thumb rule. So I think there is a big opportunity, because to reach the GDP targets in 2047, 30 trillion, we got to grow on an average of around 8.5%, and the asking rates are slowly building up because of our current level of around 6.2, 6.5. So I think that will bring more and more opportunity for investments in the infrastructure, and thereby machinery manufacturers are going to get majorly benefited. So what, as a manufacturer, we expect from you all? Of course, energy efficiency is the clear benchmark on which everything is going to depend. So all of us are working because for the total ownership cost, and we are looking for such suppliers who are able to deliver that. Then smart and connected electro-hydraulic systems. So that is also a must. The traditional ones which are there, and typically the mindset, India products are low technology, and the world technology can be passed on to India, and we should have the best of the best. I mean, this is typically a developed nation's mindset, which is changing fast. But I think as Indians working in Indian ecosystem, we need to have the responsibility of convincing the overseas parent company to start everything new in India to make sure that the company's growth continues to peak with the volume of equipments becoming larger in India. I mean, I can tell our swing setter story. I just take an exemption on what I promised earlier that I will not speak. I have to tell this here because when we started, we were 2% of the global share of the company was from India. As I speak to you, we are contributing to 55% of the global turnover from India. So it is easier for us to convince them, make everything what you want to make it new in India, and they are now listening. So some of the new products developed for USA was completely designed, prototyped in India, and it was exhibited in the World of Concrete in January 2025. And the production will also happen here. But our challenge is our vendors, our suppliers. So whether they are coming to that extent, I think this story will be true for most of the construction equipment companies who are members of ICEMA. So they are going to give the numbers, and their ecosystem should be completely geared up for that. So that is very, very important thing for us. So we also want a compact and lightweight, and we are, as a country, we are not going to make all huge machines. We understand we have to grow along with the speed and scale of construction projects in India. So we will not be making. If you go and talk about backhoe loader, is there, we are sitting and he will vouch for that. Nowhere in the world big numbers are made like what is made in India. We are special. And if you talk about self-loading mixture, nowhere in the world people make in so many numbers, self-loading mixtures. Entire Europe put together, I think maybe they are maybe a quarter's production of India. So that is the scale what we are having now, and it will continue to go for all the products which are there in the industry. So that's a big, big opportunity. So of course we talked about cost effectiveness and indigenization at your level, like your own manufacturing should be depending on more of local raw material and local vendors. And the customization will also be another challenge. I mean, all of us are investing big time on research and development. All companies members of ICEMA are doing big time research development in India for the world market. So I think association of your organization with us and letting us know what all things is possible and what all things we need and you understand, then we can take the whole industry in a different level. So that I'm very sure. So I have some requests to place in front of you. Now one is working together. We already talked about enough number of time. And another one, I want you to take a membership in ICEMA as an associate member. Associations can take a membership. So we will get, why we need it is exchange of thought. We can have many more CEO level interactions to understand what's going on. I'm sure all of you are connected with individually with companies, but it can open up for the rest of you who are aspiring to become suppliers for big companies. That is one side of it. The other side is we are working with the MHI. I cannot talk many details, but I am not talking about the PLI or anything, but the government is very keen to promote construction equipment industry in India. So there are discussions on, and we are giving a proposal which is likely to get accepted in the near future. It is not only for the equipment. It is going to be also for the components. So we need to tell the real story first, that what is actually happening. And we can tell that story up to the equipment. But beyond that, in the detail, I think there is information required. And majority of those items are hydraulic pumps, motors, valves, cylinders. I mean, all what I'm mentioning are items which you people are manufacturing. So there is a requirement to intensify our interactions, sir, in the coming times, so that we are able to meet the deadline of the government in giving a strong proposal also and get benefited for both the industry. The next important point I wanted to make is, I heard on your achievement of last 1 year, congratulations to the association for delivering such a high-level activities in 1 year. Particularly, I want to pick the point on skilling and skill development. IESC is a nodal agency for equipment skill development for the government of India. And we are also certifying programs. And I see a collaborative approach could help, like, branded certification, what you are giving. I think we can have, we can bring in more number of people. You can see, when I talk about 140,000 machine per year, roughly around 2 or 2.5 times you can imagine the number of people who are require training, who are going to be the new operator for those machines. So we have a responsibility to train them on making the machine, but also at the component level, if we need service engineers and maintenance crew and service centers, etc. I think this type of a knowledge for coming from your side will be really helpful. And the last point I would like to make is about Excon 2025. Probably we are going to be in the same location between 9th and 13th of December 2025. This time it's going to be a real big show with the additional space and additional infrastructure facility. So I would like you all to consider, of course, you all must visit. I'm sure you are there with your stalls also. I would recommend even you have a sort of engagement activity, something like what we discussed, maybe a CEO conference of your industry leaders coming from different part of the world to meet with the industry leader of construction equipment during this period. All of us will be available for almost the full period of time. So I think that will give a good opportunity to get in more detail about the trend, what is coming. And by then we will also know where we are heading with the government in terms of the incentive scheme. Your investment plans, everything can be aligned with an activity like that. So that will be my strong recommendation to all. And with that, I conclude my speech, and I thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to express the view from our industry, our company, our association, and also from behalf of CII and IESC, what we are doing from our bit for our industry development and how we can be better with your support in the future. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sakthikumar. I'd like to request President Mr. Shrikant Bairagi to felicitate Mr. Sakthikumar with a memento from FPSI.